should be done uh, with an approach that's a lot more than say what you do what you say, and document it. I hear a lot of auditors that use that phrase, and that's kind of an old habit because management systems aren't meant for you to document things and just follow the documentation. That doesn't provide necessarily any real value to the company. You could be, following a procedure, following protocol or a checklist, and still producing bad products or dangerous situations or not containing some environmental impact. So the idea here is you want to be able to audit in keeping in mind the business impact and how your efforts are going to be moving towards that common goal, the strategy, the KPIs. So one of the things I wanted you to keep in mind here is, and you'll see this in a few areas of the presentation, there's a bunch of different derivatives of this, but SQDCME is one of those. And the idea here is you want to make sure, let me change this, make sure we got that there. Okay. You want to make sure that in the activity that you're doing, you're adding a positive business impact to one or more of the following aspects of the business: safety, quality, delivery. Delivery, you could say, is responsiveness. Safety could be health and safety, or employee wellness, or associate wellness, or people health and safety. There's a lot of different ways you can kind of massage these acronyms so that they kind of stick. But safety, quality, delivery, or responsiveness. Cost is another, which really doesn't mean just cost, but it's financial. Where can you save costs? Where could you leverage the most bang for your buck type deal? Morale, this is morale, motivation, employee satisfaction. In 9001, one of the 7 principles that this really touches on relationship management. So that, again, the people piece, the motivation piece, the kind of human psychological factors, those types of things, and then environmental. So think about these things in context of risk-based thinking or opportunities for improvement as you're auditing to positively impact one or more of these aspects of the business. Okay, so this isn't just going out and making sure that someone is following their procedure, but following a procedure is an ends to a mean. So just keep this in mind. You'll see SQDCME in a few spots. So that's what I'm talking about with regard to that acronym. So ultimately, show me how audits have helped improve our KPIs. And you might actually have an organizational leader, a site leader, a chairman or something like that saying, hey, we need to be cognizant of how we're spending our money, sending people out to auditor training, or getting auditor training online. Tell me how that's going to lead to these higher metrics. And that's something as a active, good audit team member, you should be striving for, is to show that direct connection to this positive business impact. Ultimately, in auditing, you're an extension of leadership. Okay, so keep the big picture in mind. Why are you going out to audit? Why are you taking this time? Or why should you be going out and auditing a certain area when another area is really struggling? So keep that in mind. Think strategically, and align yourself as an extension of leadership. So you're also going to be out there looking at problems that are in between functional areas. One area could be following its protocol, following its procedures, instructions, checklist, but the handoff of an order from department B to department C, there could be some issues. There could be some misunderstandings, some integrity lost in information, or product is damaged, so on and so forth. So you really want to pay attention there in between functional areas. The other thing is you want to confirm communication. So a lot of times there'll be initiatives or policy changes that are put out at a leadership level, but you're going to be used to confirm that the message that was sent out was actually received. Keep in mind, communication does not equal understanding. So you as an auditor can help to validate that what was sent out was actually fully received and is understood. That's a really good way to show yourself as an extension of leadership. And then there might be variation from one shift to the next, or one operator to the next, or one area to the next, one location to the next. It's important that leadership understand why, not for, second shift is doing a bad job, let's go punish them, but let's study why first shift is doing a better job. Why is there variation? That's something that's really important at a leadership level. And then validation. A lot of times leaders will think that they've communicated appropriately, or that they think that this new machine that they bought is going to help production, or help serve the customer better. But you can be a valuable asset there in validating, verifying that change, or what have you, whatever the new thing that has been brought into place truly has made a difference. The other thing is, I look at the auditing process as a yin and a yang. So you've probably seen this symbol in the past. And what's unique about the way I look at this and apply it to auditing is, one part of the yin yang symbol is the process owner. The other part is the auditor or auditors. So when you're approaching an audit and you're planning an audit, you should be working together with the process owner on more than just the logistics of the audit. You should be really looking into, what are his or her priorities? How can you be an extension of that process owner? Maybe she's super busy, maybe she's juggling a ton of things, which is typically the case for a manager or leadership level. So what is it that you can go out and do and help provide additional oversight, and really come away with a valuable exercise in this audit? So definition, yin and yang can be thought as a complementary rather than opposing forces that interact to form a dynamic system in which the whole is greater than the assembled parts. So, at the end of the day, synergy, that word's kind of been used and abused a little bit cliche, but the idea here is you're not going to go out and do an audit as a pop quiz. This isn't surprise the owner of the process that you're auditing. This is working together to go up on the front end, plan properly, know what you're going to audit, and then going in objective, impartial, fair and balanced and thorough to do an audit, to come away with some information that helps that process owner or the leadership that surrounds that process owner. Okay, so that's something, it's all about teamwork, working together, not opposing forces. So one thing that our training does that maybe is a little bit different than some other folks is, we don't focus on compliance and non-compliance, yes or no, black and white, ones or zeros. One of the things that we really focus on in our methodology is the degree of maturity of an existing process or activity. So you've got from the lower end here, number one is, there is no process, or the process is unpredictable, poorly controlled and reactive. And then you have all the way up to the 5 is, you have a focus on process improvement. You're at a world-class level. So I want you to apply that same thinking to auditing. Where are you right now in your program? Where are you right now in your own auditing skills? Are you a 1? Are you brand new, just starting out? Or are you a best practice level 5 or somewhere in between? When you look at a level 1, one of the things that I see in organizations is a culture where It's almost like running from the auditor. Hey, we have an audit coming up. One of the things I want to make sure that I'm doing in as the audit is approaching is making sure I call in sick, or I'm going to try to figure out how to delay the audit as much as possible, or I'm going to make sure that I'm not around, or certain people are not around when the auditor uh, comes in to audit us. That's really not the culture I'm looking for. I mean, that is a level one, in my opinion. You're not using the auditing process to make your company better. And then let's look back at the other end of that spectrum. So number five is, this concept, which it is possible, but I don't see it a lot, is this approach of requesting an audit. Imagine if a process owner or a process team actually submitted some sort of request to say, hey, audit program manager, it might be a really good idea to, bring in the audit team to audit this area because we're about to make changes, or we just added another shift, or we have a new vendor, or, new equipment, we changed material, whatever it is. But that level one side of things on that spectrum is what I call running from the auditor. And then level five is where you see a culture where the leadership is pulling auditors. They're actually making the request. They're proactively engaged in the auditing program and scheduling that as a mechanism to actually, improve and do better and make the company better.